Hello Gemini, and welcome to TenPaths Tarot. My name is Everett, and today the message is about creativity. If you are a Gemini with a strong creative drive, whether it be in writing, painting, drawing, music, dancing, this message is for you. And I started out by asking Spirit to give us the theme for this reading, and that was the theme that was given with this oracle card. And here, the first thing I noticed, of course, was the teepee, that which can be uprooted and moved to a different place. But then I also noticed the paintings on the teepee and that there were pencils in the border and the number 21 at the top. This number is associated with creativity. So we're speaking about Geminis with a strong creative drive. And the first card out of the deck was the High Priestess. Now the High Priestess is a bit of a magician. She is powerful. She doesn't dwell on her own power. Instead, she's always searching for answers, for better ways of doing things, for ways of manifesting new beginnings. And so she has a strong creative nature. And then the next card was the Four of Wands. Now here, our dreams are growing, but they're trying to conform to what everybody wants. They're trying to conform to the norms of society, and we're trying to build that kind of foundation. And we're even pledging that we will do it. We've kind of left that magic creative energy behind, and we're trying to box ourselves in. And then we have the Five of Pentacles. This card looks a little scary, but in this context, I don't think it's about physical injury. I think it's about the wounding inside we feel when we try to become what we can't be. Because that traditional way of doing things is not within us. We can't do it. And when we do, we look for comfort, but instead we may be reprimanded, telling us that what we're doing is silly, it's not practical. Why do you want to do these things? You're wasting your time, you're wasting your money. And so we kind of shut down, and that's what's happened with the Four of Cups. We've shut down, and our dreams are dying because we're not nourishing them. That creative spark isn't being nourished. We're not happy simply conforming to everyday life because it's not within us. Spirit puts different people with different tendencies and abilities all together so that we can all accomplish and see things in different ways. If we all did the exact same thing, only one thing would ever get done, or one interest would be the ultimate, but there would be no variety whatsoever. So we've shut down, and we're trying to not look at our own creativity because we've been told it's dangerous. It could lead to disaster. Our own creativity could lead to disaster? That's scary. And so the next set of cards, the first one out of the deck in this deck, is so important. This card, if you've been here before, you may know that it represents my mother. My mother speaks to me in this deck, and this is the card she makes appear when something is very important. She's telling me, because I'm one of those creatives too, to listen to this message. Spirit has something important to say. And so, thank you, Mom, for joining us today. She was very creative too. She was always a bit frustrated. She wanted to be an artist from the get-go, but things just never went in that direction. And I'm afraid at home, my dad, he was a wonderful man, but he didn't understand that drive, and he thought it was kind of silly. She always encouraged me to move into the arts. And she always wanted to be an artist, but beyond that, even later, she did a lot of research on various archaeological finds. And she said in her next life, she always wanted to be an archaeologist. That too is kind of creative. You're digging, you're looking for something. It's not very practical. But here we have practicality with the Four of Pentacles, a very stable energy, but also very set, and no forward movement in this card. This Four of Pentacles, the woman is simply sitting there. Even the ram in the sky, the ram rushes forward with its horns, but not today. It is simply sitting there. And when we box ourselves in, trying to think like normal people, which does not make us abnormal. There's a lot of us creatives out there, but we're not the majority. And when we try to box ourselves in, this cannot happen. This is the fiery energy that we feel, and this is what leads to the transformation. You can see on here there are many butterflies emerging. There are caterpillars waiting for their turn to emerge. This is what we were designed for. We can't stand still like this. When we try to stand still, when we try to move forward in the accepted way, this is what happens. We're the page, we know something of the world, but all of the land around us is barren. It's barren. There's nothing there for us. In our hearts, we do want some stability. At the same time, we want to be able to pick up and go because that's how we're made. Sometimes we might envy others who are able to go into those steady careers, those steady way of doing things. But when we envy like that, maybe instead we should appreciate that in them, but realize that is not us. We were put here for a different reason. And so then I asked Spirit, well, then what do we do? What do we do? Move ahead. Take all of this intuition, emotion, know-how, and move ahead. You may have to pack lightly. You may have to change your ways of doing things frequently. That's part of that creative spirit. But that is the path for us. Then we have the Three of Pentacles. And the pentacles here, I'm looking less at the pentacles than I am the men in the picture. We have one who's smiling and laughing at that sparking fire, who sees the different colors. And then we have one who's afraid of that. Oh, you don't want that kind of magic. You don't want to be able to see that beauty. And then the person behind him can see that beauty a little bit, but is still leaning toward the fear aspect. So the one who's enjoying it and can see the possibilities, well, he's smiling. So we may never be part of the set group because we will always see that beauty that others don't see, or those possibilities that others don't see. Sometimes it leads us astray, meaning we will not be able to be peg-holed into the standard ways of doing things. It's against our natures, and we can fight it as much as we want. But when we learn to love ourselves, that's when things blossom. And that purple blossom, purple especially, purple and pink, are both signs of understanding, of full development, full spiritual, emotional development. And when we love ourselves and appreciate that creativity instead of trying to deny it, because that's what we're told to do, then that is when we blossom. When we accept we can never leave it. It's not in us to. And so then, do we go around telling everybody, well, I'm special. I was told that I'm special, and so I don't have to listen to anyone. No. It can be your secret garden. What you create can grow and thrive. But it may be between you and your heart and spirit, and you may find companions with similar ways of thinking. But remember, they won't be the majority of people. That doesn't mean you X out everybody else in the world, but that also doesn't mean you stop appreciating the special gifts that you've been given. And so then I looked at the numbers here. We have a lot of 4s, and we actually have 8s, which are more 4s. So I looked up the angel number 888. It says, your distress has been heard by spirit, and you are being guided forward. Be hopeful in spite of the pain. We're going to always feel pain. We're creative people. So even when there's nothing to feel pain about, we will sense it around us and internalize it. So be hopeful in spite of pain. And then with the 444, angels will guide you as needed. But think through your choices. Be careful of your actions. And that could be a warning, or it could be telling you that be careful what you tell yourself. That's an action. What you tell yourself is an action. If you start trying to blame your creativity for your problems, and it may prevent you from a typical way of doing things. That's just the luck of the draw. Or some people would say we contracted for that before we were born. I don't know. I don't know. But be careful of your actions, and your actions may be just that, or trying to place yourself above others because you feel that creative spark and they don't. We're all put here for different reasons. If everyone had our spark, the world might be kind of a wild place to live in. And so think through your choices. I think some of that is how you deal with other people. Don't expect them to understand. If they don't have that creativity, they're not going to understand. So stop explaining yourself. That's an action too. You don't have to explain. You don't have to apologize. Just be the wonderful person that you were put here to be. And your path may be a little different. And you may have to pick up and move on from time to time. Or start seeing things afresh, because that is part of the creativity too. And so I hope this message has been helpful for you today, Gemini. I appreciate your coming and spending time with me, and thank you all for all of the likes and for the positive comments and for the subscriptions. I really appreciate it. So I will sign off for now, and I hope to see you again soon.